It went a bit short that time. I hate it when it comes quick and it ends shorter than you expect it to. That's life and everything. But good evening, everybody. Welcome. We are live. We are live on Facebook. We are live on YouTube. This is EPL Across the Pond. This is our Thursday night preview show with Chris and Bob.
Hello.
Hello. It's not Gary with a facelift, and it's not Gary that's grown 3 feet in height. I didn't mention the ears, but
in the ears, mate. He gets upset about that.
Welcome, Bob. Welcome to the show. Bob's making his debut tonight. Is that a Port Vale shirt that we see before us?
Well, yeah. I mean, the mighty Leeds United, mate. You know, I think I've got to represent here. You know, I'm making sure that we spread the good word of Yorkshire and Leeds.
Yorkshire diversity. That's what we've gone for on EPL.
Yeah, very much so. Yorkshire. Yeah,
we're ticking boxes tonight. We've brought Yorkshire in tonight. We've gone from the Merseyside to a Mancunian. Now we're bringing in a bit of Yorkshire pride. A bit of what's the movie that's out at the minute? The big one that Wuthering Heights. We bought a bit of Wuthering Heights.
Yeah, Yorkshire.
Yeah,
there you go.
Nice little sunset behind you in the background as well. I see. It's looking pretty good.
Yeah, Ellen Road on April 21st, 2025, when we got promoted last season.
Oh, we'll talk more about Leeds later on the show. We've got a lot to get through the show tonight. And as always, if you have an opinion or you want to get involved in the chatter, just reach out into the comments, drop us a little tag in there as well. If you've not done so already, follow us on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok now. We're on TikTok, Bob. Everyone's on the TikToks. We're on there.
Yeah, not done it myself, mate.
For the kids, I try to keep up, but it's one of those things that we all try and keep up with a lot of things. So we're about. Drop us a line, tag us, comment at us. If you want to have a little shout out, taggers, hashtag EPL Across the Pond, hashtag Gary and Chris, or Gary and Bob, Chris and Bob, Bob and Chris, whatever. Just tag away and everything, and we'll go from there. We've got a lot to get through on tonight's show. We've got lots of stuff happening in the football world to talk about. Last week's fixtures, this week's fixtures, change at the top. Changes coming at the bottom, maybe. We don't know. But first, a little sad little homage, because we like to talk about people that have died on the show and pay homage to greats. So Tony Parks sadly passed away today. There he is. There's a lovely picture of Tony. Interesting thing when we talk about people and players and one club wonders. Tony Parks was at one club for 34 years. 34 years as a player, played over 400 games for them, and then was an interim caretaker manager 6 times. Bob, coming from the world of football as you are, 6 times as a caretaker manager and you didn't get the job, would you be pissed?
No, I don't think so, mate. I feel like he knew his role. Brilliant, though. Think of the impact that he had all the way through that club.
He was under Kenny. I think he was before Kenny as well as a coach, and playing in the team's Premiership winner, obviously, with that great one season wonder Blackburn side with Shearer and whatnot, and then in and out over the years. But sad news today, the sad passing of Mr. Tony Parks. Again, we've got a lot to get through, and we're looking at names for different segments. And me and my little GCSEs came up with the wonderful head title of Prem News Alert. So we're going to go and talk about all the exciting things that have happened in the Premier League since Gary and I last spoke last week. The first big news coming out of Chelsea, another one bites the dust. Gary and I have talked about this on the show in the past. I saw it coming. Gary saw it coming. It was a question of how long is this going to last for before we can keep going for it. He's not here, Todd. Worry about your golf course and that kind of thing.
He's at a school disco tonight, you know, representing. He's doing his best to take care of tomorrow's presenters today at a school disco.
He's at a school disco requesting Scatman, and he's getting the funny looks. Cotton Eye Joe they've got. He's got, I'll play that later. Superman's in the bag. I've got that. We're good to go. Scatman.
Yeah. Again, dated references there, mate. That'll get engagement, won't it?
Scatman's all about it. So we'll move on to that later. We'll keep an eye on him. Gary says he's going to try and join us in between a bit of dancing and breaking up fights.
Nice. Okay, good.
He'll try. You know, he's not on the clock tonight, so we're not paying him anything to do so and stuff. So back to the latest news from this week. Latest news, obviously, Chelsea. Gary and I have talked about this forever, that how long is this going to last? And it lasted not very long at all. So where does Chelsea go from here, Bob?
I'm like you. It was more of when's it going to happen? And I have to say, I was hoping it was going to happen after the semi-final on Sunday. That's what I was hoping for. But I think we were just talking about it. What manager's going to take that job? Like,
Right.
when you think about it, you made a great point of they want a yes man. Who's going to take that job now? Who's going to go in there and actually want to do it? John Terry's the obvious choice. Does he have the pedigree to go in? And he's not a yes man, is he? So
Yeah.
I can't think of who they're going to get. I've been thinking about it all day. Like, who's going to replace him? But who's going to want to? There's always going to be somebody, right? They've got a big checkbook.
Right. Go back to the days. I mean, even when the early years of the Premier League, when Glenn Hoddle took over there and stuff, they've had an alignment of manager after manager that have wanted to do it their way, whether it was Hoddle, Hullet, Vialli, going through into Ranieri, and even so forth beyond that. There was always managers that came in that wanted to do it their way. This is how we want to do it from top to bottom. Now, Chelsea do have a phenomenal pedigree of youth talent at the club. That when youth systems were really getting changed and stuff, I came through a YTS system, then the academies came on board. Then they had this catchment area rule, and Chelsea knew how to bend the catchment area rules by buying relatives and uncles and aunties and put them employees at the club. That's another story for another day. We'll digress for that one. But somebody who comes into Chelsea Football Club now, they're not, they're still in it. They're only 7 points off fifth, not a million miles away. It's probably European football is probably drifting away right now. But like you said, they've got the resources, they've got the money, they've got
a squad.
They've got a squad. They've got a board of directors that wants to be successful. They've got world-class players, but someone's got to come in and kind of turn it around. And when Rossini went in there, it was like, this is the last person that's going to do that because he's got no experience.
Yeah.
Not proved himself in dealing with bigger players and bigger name players. And players are going to turn around like, even when you and I played at a certain level, it's if you don't respect the coach or the manager, you don't really care what he's got to say.
Right, but do you think that one of the ones that are moving on is going to end up at Chelsea, like Iriola from Bournemouth? Is he now going to be thinking, I'm going to go there?
There was a few there was something I was looking on today, and it was Ruben Amorim could be a guy that gets thrown in there.
Oh, please put him in there. Please put him in.
To say a bit about it.
Great.
But, if you look at the World Cup, right? Look at all the managers that are at the World Cup that have managed in the Premier League that potentially might not be at the World Cup after this summer.
Yeah.
Tuchel's going to be one of them. Does he go back?
Yeah.
Pochettino, he's not going to be at the USA after this World Cup. He's going to move on.
Been sacked by Chelsea, by the way.
But well, there you go. So do you look at what's going to come back in and say, what's next step for us? Do they bring someone that's been there before? Do they twist it up a bit? But who's going to go there? I just don't know who's going to go in there and make an impact. I should know this, or we should know this. Have they announced who's the interim or who's going to take him into this weekend?
I should know that, but I don't know that actually.
You don't know. Wow,
I just have an assumption that eventually John Terry's going to turn up in a kit on a sideline.
Lifting a trophy. Well, big game Sunday, obviously, FA Cup semi-finals. You mentioned it, they play Leeds. Is it going to be the resurgence? Is it going to be like a comeback? But, I've watched in the last couple of games they've played. I've frozen.
No, you're still there, mate. Yeah, the last few games, there's nothing in them. And I was hoping it'd be that way for Sunday, but I actually think now there'll be a resurgence of them. You know what I mean? They changed the manager, they come in. I know they've got a caretaker, so the players have got to prove themselves, haven't they? Right.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. And, FA Cup semi-finals, not saying form goes out the window, but it's who turns up on the day and who's ready for it, who's prepared for it the most. It doesn't seem that long ago that Chelsea were lifting the FIFA World Club Cup or whatever the silly name they had for it last summer?
Yeah, in the summer.
In the summer and whatnot. And then if you look at, there's an interesting stat about, people talk about Cole Palmer. He's really dropped off the ball. He's played football the last 2 summers running. So he's not really had a break in, 3 years now. So maybe he needs a rest. To me personally, Cole Palmer stopped playing when Jackson left. And Paul Merson made a couple of points recently, not long ago, about Jackson suited Palmer and Palmer suited Jackson. They just knew how to play each other, where they're going to make the runs. Palmer knew where to play it. And he doesn't have that kind of striker anymore that plays on the last man or, he's just going to go long away. He's going to run into the channels and all that kind of stuff. So Chelsea, interesting one. Speaking of just slightly above that, we've obviously had a little bit of a change at the top of the table. Missed yesterday, sorry, but why is most of the 66 England team going bold? Well, we've not got a 66 member of the team on tonight, Kev, so it's a different member. But yeah, you're right. That 66 England team, they pretty much did all lose their hair around about them. But that's how it was. It was soapy water.
I blame the water, you know. When I go back to Leeds, often there's a lot of bald people there, and I'm always wondering, like, we're all follically challenged, so maybe that's what it is in the UK.
That's what it puts it. I wouldn't drink the water. Certain parts of Yorkshire, I wouldn't drink the water anyway.
But that's why hair transplants have gone through the roof over there.
You get direct flights from Leeds Bradford to Turkey. There's a direct flight from there. So just go and talk about the top of the table now. We now have a new leader. We now have the new leader for the first time in 30 weeks, I think, or 30 rounds of Premier League football, and that's Man City. And the challenge is now: are they going to drop off the ball, or are they just go all the way through and they take it home, Bob?
I can't.
It's a hard one, isn't it? Because nobody wants City. Nobody wants City to win. Yeah,
it's done. Game over. Because Pep's a master at this.
Yeah, they've been there. They've done it.
Yeah, they always come on strong at the end of the season. We were talking about earlier on Arteta with his light bulb. Maybe he needs to do that again in the changing room.
Is that a bit Bollywood, or is that?
I just can't see it. Like I can't see them coming back. I really can't.
Yeah, and it's again, if you've not been there as a player and you've not been there as a manager, how do you motivate your players? How do you tell them the right things to say and what gets them through? Pep's been there, done that. He knows every team talk. He knows what's to say. He knows which players are going to be up for it. He knows which players he can rest and rotate and stuff. I think it's home sailing. There's a stat that I saw the other day was in the month of April, Tottenham have no points and Arsenal have 1 point. And that just says everything about two teams.
That go stat, that, mate. Congratulations.
Well, Gary's normally the stat man, but I try and look a little bit up every now and again, and it just says everything you need to know about which directions those teams are going in. And
what's your hot take?
I think there's going to be another twist. I think there's going to be another twist, but I think City have just got more to offer. They've got goals in them, and we talked earlier, and we'll talk about the bottom side of the table, the bottom who's going to get out of the relegation period, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But if you're scoring goals, you're going to win things, and you're going to stay in the league. If you're not scoring goals, that's the biggest problem of any manager has, and not scoring goals. And City are going to score goals for fun. Haaland's fit, he's in form, and it'll just start banging him in for fun. When their left back's one of their top scorers, that says all you need to know about it, whatnot.
What are your thoughts then? Because I feel like Arteta's been all season really pragmatic. He's got a set way of playing. And then the last few weeks, he's tried to really open up and play. In some cases, he tried to do it, but they just can't do it.
He's tried to change it. He's tried to change the winning formula.
Yeah.
Because people started to moan that Arsenal were boring to watch. Arsenal were boring to play against. And, go back to our era, the George Graham years. Do you think he gave a shit about 1-0 to the Arsenal? He didn't care. He did not care, because you win football games, you win trophies, you win matches and stuff. I remember Arsenal winning two of the most worst cup finals. I think it was 93, both against Sheffield Wednesday. And they won them both 1-0, one was 2-1. And they played awful, boring football. And Sheffield Wednesday had some superstars back in those days when Waddle was on form, Mark Bright, David Hurst. They had a pretty good squad.
Yeah,
great squad. John Hark's in there as well. Yeah. Fair enough, they had Asda at 1 year, but Sanderson, I think, was the sponsorship then. But they played great, exciting football, and Arsenal just nulled it out and they killed it. I don't think Arsenal have the players to null it out and kill it. The other thing that comes up a little bit in the minute about is player of the season. Who's going to win player of the season? And a few people will come in and be like, well, it's got to be Declan Rice, hasn't it? It has to be Declan Rice. Why?
Because I hope you've got some stats for us right now, mate.
No. I do have some, but I'm not going to put them on the screen. But I was looking at Casemiro. Casemiro has better stats than Declan Rice. He has more tackles, more duels won, more aerial battles won, more goals, more assists, and he's played less games. Why isn't Casemiro player of the season?
He's not Declan Rice.
He should be over Declan Rice and stuff. And I just the thing that we want to see from Declan Rice, and for England as well, you want to see him take the game by the scruff of the neck, almost in a Gerrard style or a Roy Keane style. Throw a few bollockings out there, shout at a few players, and just show a bit of emotion on your shirt. You know, there's one game the other day when he came off and he was like mouthing things to the fans, and it was just like, that's not good enough. You know,
Right.
you've got to really show passion. If a player's giving a ball away, you let him know, put it out there, and get. You know what it does, Bob, as well. It gets the fans going. It shows you that you've got a player on the team. You know, Liverpool knew that they could be playing crap, but Gerrard would drag them over the line.
Always.
Same with United. Arsenal had it with Vieira. They had leaders. Rice isn't even the captain. Odegaard's the captain. You know,
I would ask people their opinion on Declan Rice. I think he's a very good player.
I think he's a fantastic player. I think he's underrated as a footballer, but as a leader, as someone that's going to literally, you can see your team failing around you. That aside, I just don't think they have the goals in them. I don't think they have the goals in them. You know, is Jesus and Havertz, are they in the same kind of breath as a Firmino or a York or a Cole or a, you know, Drogba, Shearer? I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it.
They're done.
I think they're done, mate. I really do. I've watched them over the last couple of weeks. You know, they hit that squeaky bum moment and the nervousness have come in. Now, okay, they're level on points, but now they've got to outscore City. And if you've got a team that's not battered anyone all season and not scoring goals consistently, that worries me. And I just don't see it happening now. And I think this weekend's going to be a telling sign of where we get as the Premier League season, you know, counters on. I've actually we'll talk about it in a bit. Picks of the week. I mean, they're playing Newcastle at home.
I know they've got Newcastle who are on the struggle bus as well, aren't they? But I mean, you've got to think that Arsenal are going to beat Newcastle this weekend. But
if you're Eddie Howe and you're in that Newcastle dressing room and it's like, hey, go out there and end their career, go and end their season.
God, 100%.
How much did you love that as a player when you've really got nothing to play for, but you can go out and just ruin out someone else's season?
It's what we were talking about earlier on. Sometimes you get more joy from others losing.
Fans as well. Fans as well. I remember going to watch Blackburn years ago with Forest. It was the Ron Atkinson season, and Big Ron had basically, you know, they'd gone down with like 2 or 3 games to go, and Forest went to Ewood Park and we won, I think 1-0 or 2-1, and it was Brian Kidd was the manager. It was the season that Blackburn got relegated, and Forest fans, all they gave a shit about the whole game was the fact that we took Blackburn down. We were the team that literally beat them to relegate them. And it was just beautiful. Beautiful. Yeah, Kevin, that's a great point. You know, Gahey.
Mate, I agree with that. Gahey, that's
so good.
Absolutely pivotal, right? He's been brilliant. It's a great shout, that.
But go back, and that was another comment that came up. I saw on another podcast the other day. Chelsea let him walk. Chelsea let him walk. He came through the academy, got sold to Palace. Now, granted, there's a lot of things, you know, when you're that young that could happen and progress. He should be Chelsea captain right now, and they should be building a team around him. But he's been absolutely immense this year for City and stuff. And
what a signing. And the fact that Liverpool had him, didn't do the deal.
Right.
City went and got him. And that's what they needed. Like, they needed somebody in there because you know they're always going to score.
Yeah,
but Gay's been absolutely first class. Brilliant shout, that.
No, good shout there as well. And then the other things to talk about, you know, I'm going to bring it back up again. I want to know more. I want to know more about Leeds United. So let's go to the mid-table, aren't they? Leeds mid-table.
May as well be now, mate. May as well be.
Let's go to the other end of the table. Obviously, this week we had Wolves were relegated, and then Burnley were relegated the other day as well. So we've got 2 out of the 3 locked in. I mean, they've been pretty much locked in for a while now. Now we're up to that 3rd spot, the 3rd place. And I think mathematically, correct me if I'm wrong, and I know we can mathematically, whatever, but it's realistically, I think, going to be between Spurs, West Ham, Forest, and Leeds. I personally think Leeds are clear.
I don't.
They're on 40. What do you think is the safe point?
43 to stay up.
Okay.
I just feel like between Forest and West Ham, Spurs are going to go on a run. We love losing. We love throwing it away. I feel like there's only been one team that's been relegated on their 40 points, I think, or 42 points. So that could be us. We love doing that.
That was Sunderland, right? That was Sunderland,
yes.
I believe.
Yeah. Again, look at you with your stats.
Well, Danny Dichio is my next door neighbour, so you know.
There you go.
Yeah.
I honestly, mate, I wouldn't say Leeds are safe. I'd say, who do we have though? We've got Burnley at home. Then we've got to play Spurs away, so we can really ruin their season for them. And then we've got West Ham, last game of the season away.
But let me ask you this then. If you think Leeds have got to get 42.
43.
Okay, 43. Newcastle are on 42. Are they in it? Are they in the mix?
Well, if they get beat by Arsenal on this weekend,
you lot could go above them. Forest play tomorrow night against Sunderland, which would put them 3 behind Newcastle. But then you've got to think, are Spurs realistically going to get 12 points? Are they going to win 4 out of the last 5?
I don't know. I mean, are Forest safe?
No. And the crazy thing is that I'm looking at it as well as Forest haven't lost in 7 games now. And they've done really well. They're winning games, they're scoring goals, and that kind of side of things. Spurs haven't won in 7 games. But I still don't feel comfortable, even being 5 points ahead with 15 to play for. And we do have a better goal difference by 2, which is nothing at the minute. The only one that's got a really bad goal difference is West Ham.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think I think 42 was my take for Forest. Sunderland tomorrow, but then we've got Bournemouth at home last game of the season. But Forest have a tricky spell. They've got Chelsea to play, which I'm hoping we play Chelsea now instead of 2 or 3 games time. United, we've got to play and somebody else that's kind of tricky as well. So it's not my personal take is I think it's West Ham. I think West Ham, they don't have the goals. They don't have the goals. And when your goal difference is several worse than your nearest rival, and they're not scoring goals. I've watched a lot of games them this year have been 0-0s, and they've had all the possession, they've had all the opportunities. They just don't have that striker.
They just have they've relied on Somerville, right? He's coming to form. He scored a few goals for them. He's been that little spark coming off that left hand side and playing for them.
Let me ask you, Bob, as you're the guest tonight, you're the guest on the show tonight, Jared Bowen. Let's say West Ham go down.
I'm having him.
What's the best move for him to go? What's the best club that's going to go? He's going to play and shine in
outside of Leeds. You know what I think he'd fit. I think he'd be really good at an Everton or a Newcastle.
You don't think he'd make the next step?
Because how old is he now? 30.
Yeah.
I feel like he's at that. Maybe Villa, Villa could be a spot
Villa
for him.
Could be a good one. I don't think he gets in at City.
No, he doesn't get City, Liverpool, Chelsea, Arsenal.
He's not going to get United ahead of Mbeumo and Kuna.
No.
Villa could be a good one for him, especially with Champions League football next year. And he'd be a key man in Villa. But Villa have been playing some great football. Is he going to get in ahead of McGinn? Is he going to get ahead of Watkins? Is he going to get ahead of Davis? It's going to be hard for him.
He's not staying there, and he's not going to go to Spurs, is he? If they stay,
no,
that's not going to happen. But he could go somewhere, and I do feel like. But if he went to an Everton, could he make them that much better that they can then get into the top 10? Because right now, for the last 2 seasons, he's been fighting relegation. So a mid-table side with a chance of getting into the top 10 or the top 8, it's more appealing.
Do you think he could be a player as well that maybe his career's kind of passed him by? Because he spent so long, almost like a Letitia, right? Was so loyal, stayed through thick and thin, wanted to be, loves the club. Obviously, he's got the Danny Dyer thing going and all that kind of stuff where it is or it isn't. But you just think that's kind of his career's kind of maybe his England career as well. It's kind of slipped by because he's stayed there hopeful. I don't know. I personally think he should have gone after they won the Europa League.
Yeah, we're right.
That was 3-4 years ago. Yeah. But maybe he felt guilty because, Declan was going and he didn't want to be abandoning the ship as well. But his real estate was prime real estate at that point.
Well, that's what I don't think. That's why he's not going to get in a top 5 club, is he? I agree with you. And then is he going to leave London? I don't know. Maybe Villa makes more sense a little bit closer. He could go there. He can play in Europe. Like someone's going to want that. He's not going to go abroad.
No.
But I think he's probably got three great years left in him. He's going to go somewhere.
I wonder if Kev, would you have him at Palace? Bob, I'd like to introduce us as SAS. He's one of the most knowledgeable people we have on this show.
I'm familiar.
You are? Oh, you are.
I talk to Gary 14 times a day.
It's funny. Sass is the man that normally corrects Gary on a lot of his things as well, but he's got a great knowledge of football knowledge as well. I mean, Crystal Palace could be a team for Jared Bowen as well. I mean, that sounds crazy. Palace are flying in the Europa League this year. I don't
Not
know.
a bad shout, though, mate. He stays in London.
He stays in London. It's not necessarily going to what you consider a rival team of someone that's going to be a bit controversial. He's going to play week in, week out. It looks like Palace will be in European football again next year because it looks like they're going to win the Europa League or whatever it's called, conference and that kind of stuff.
One of them. Good side as well, you know, Palace. I'm intrigued to who's going to go to Palace as well. I don't know who's going to take over there. There's so many managerial changes coming up. So does he want to go somewhere? Does he want to go to a Palace if he doesn't know who's going to be in charge, or is he going to wait to see who's going to go there to see what the opportunity is? And I think that becomes like all these puzzles and jigsaws that are going to come together. That's going to dictate where he goes. But you've gone on here and absolute guaranteed that West Ham are going
down. Yeah, he's going to milk me now.
I'm going to tell Sonny Young right now that Morgs has said West Ham are done.
Here's another one then. I mean, is he on the plane? Do you take Jared Bowen this summer?
I don't think he gets in. I don't know. Where does he play? How does he get in?
I think he's gone probably two further down the pecking order now. And you got players like Gibbs White that are playing better than him right now. And Gibbs White's probably going to be the 4th or 5th choice. I mean, they're going to go with the obvious ones, Sackers, your Palmers, those kind of things. I think even
about that squad though. That squad's insane, right? I don't think he gets on the plane, and he's probably better off staying. Yeah. He's going to leave a new club, maybe Palace. I don't know. Liverpool are throwing money around, right? So they'll probably throw 50 million just for no reason at him.
Do they spend money on old players though, or players at the wrong side of 20? Or
no, they don't. But they just spend They just spend money on the wrong players. Gary isn't here to defend himself.
It's the amount of times I ask Gary Liverpool questions because I want a biased opinion, right? What's going on at Liverpool? How do they fix it? And he has a moment. He takes a pause and he goes, "I just don't know, mate. I just don't know. Just don't know." I'm just like, listen, we grew up with Liverpool, struggling in the 90s and stuff. And it's like, you've had a good spell over the last couple of years. Embrace it, enjoy it. The wheels have fallen off for a year or a season. You're going to be all right. You still, not so long ago, you can still smell the polish off the Champions League trophy. You can still enjoy your little.
Listen, Morgs, listen, my heart bleeds for these people who win lots of trophies. You want to try getting relegated, deducted 15, 25 points, clawing your way back like a salmon swimming upstream, only to regain all of your glory and bring in Jesse Marsh to destroy it all again, and you have to rebuild again.
It's a proper story.
SAS has got a belting question there, and I
was reading the thing. All right. Does West Ham's experience with the relegations battle put them in a weirdly better position than it does Spurs? I worry Spurs on such a downward spiral. It's hard to correct. It's not a bad shout, actually. Nuno's got the experience of turning things around.
I'm all in on Spurs going down. It looks like relegation. It's relegation. I don't like. It's us in 2004. It's Forest in 1992, 93. It's Newcastle. I think they are done, mate. I think they're gone. Empty chairs at empty tables. That overpriced stadium, massive thing. It's gone. I am all in on this. I think they're done.
I'm trying to find the Hugger Hotspur campaign that we launched a couple of weeks ago. The funny thing with the Hugger Hotspur campaign, Forest and Liverpool had yet to play Spurs at that point. And I'm like, I'm not getting involved, guys, because Forest play them next week. And that weekend, Liverpool drew. And the following weekend, Forest smashed them. So I'm glad that I kept off that train and let it go a little bit like that. But yeah, West Ham is my tip to go down. And again, I'm okay with Tottenham going down. I love Spurs to go down. Just as for 91.
Spurs, me.
Ever since 91, I've despised Tottenham for what they did to Forest at Wembley and cheating, Roger Milford and his mullet, the whole 9 yards, Gazza and his little, injury.
You're not known for grudges, though, which is
no, let it go, let it go, kind of thing. Let it go, kind of thing. But yeah, it's you know what? Someone was asking me about this the other day about Spurs going down. It might have been Gary, actually. I can't remember, but it's not the end of the world if they do go down because they've got money. They're not going to be any kind of financial trouble or anything like that. No. They're still throwing boxing fights there and WWE and NFL, all that kind of stuff. Those contracts are set in place for 10 years, so they're okay there. What it might do, similar to when Aston Villa went down, when Newcastle went down, even Forest and Leeds, it gives you a real good chance to really assess your club, what you've got. And all those teams I just mentioned that went down, the focus had to go back to the youth development of those teams, because you've got to bring players through. You have to scout better. You have to sign better. You can't just splash money and hope it works. If you're spending money on a player, okay, Forest rulebook went out the window recently with that. But if you're spending 30, 40 million on a player, it has to work. You have to do your homework. You have to do your due diligence to make sure what you're buying is an asset to the business, which it is. But it's got to be someone that's proven in the league, that's done it before, that can do it again. And it just has to be a bit more structure about it as well, as opposed to, and I think that's been the problem with Chelsea, and that's been the problem with Spurs. They've not fixed the problem. The ships are sinking, but they've not figured out how to plug the holes in. They're just scooping the water out the side of the ship.
I think, like, look, the other thing as well is if you're a Spurs and you go down, you've got to think that they would be challenging to come back up again. And then you get that winning mentality and it breeds success, you know, and you get a bit of buzz around the fans and the stadium and everyone's excited to go to the games. That gives momentum for when you do come up, right? And maybe that gets you the first 10, 15 points that you need and you're rolling. Now, the other flip side of that is your mates, Leicester, right?
Yeah.
Who just go and go and go and go and go. I just don't see Spurs doing that. But I do think Spurs are, I just can't see it.
No, you made a good point. I was thinking at the time, you know, that when Leicester won the championship a couple of years ago, and even Forest when they won the old first division, both those teams went on to win the leagues the next year because they had that momentum, the confidence was going. You bring one or two more in, you just tweak it, you figure things out, you stick with the coach, which is something that teams don't like to do anymore. You know, they're looking for that instant success and continuation from it. Might be a good thing for Tottenham to go down and just really figure out who's going to be here for the round. They've got a good couple of young players coming through, English players that they can literally, you know, bring in and give it a go. 8 teams contesting for different European competitions and the relegate. It's mad. And you know what? Sass, you've been on this for a while now, and it's the first time in years where at this point of the season, where we're only 4 or 5 weeks from the end of the season, there's so much to play for.
It's interesting this year.
So much to play for.
Yeah, the teams that have come up have been much better, right? They've had a better go of it between Sunderland, Leeds, obviously, you know, Burnley. They were always going to struggle. But you're absolutely right. I thought it was done. I thought that the title was over, but Arsenal are going to Arsenal. Yeah. So then that's back on now, right? And then, and then
we got to get through those. We've got to get some Arsenal.
I was also thinking about this, like, because if you win the European, whatever it's called, whichever the European
thing, the Europa League,
Europa League, you're back in it again. Are you in the Champions League?
They'll win the Champions League if we win the Europa League, yeah.
Right, but yeah, I was looking at. I actually, at the start of the season, I thought Palace would go because they won the FA Cup. They didn't have a big enough squad. They're in Europe and well coached, really good players. I thought Gahey was going to go. And the fact that they're going to finish mid-table, then they're going to be able to build on that squad. I'm like, for me, if Leeds win the FA Cup, I don't want to be in Europe.
Right.
Not a squad to get there. Give me the day out. Give me the memories.
Right.
European travel. Because I think the impact of that, if your squad isn't big enough, what does it mean?
Yeah, it's funny to say that because last year, I mean, Forest were top 4 literally all season until like 2-3 games from the end. And then they missed out on the last game of the season where they lost to Chelsea at home. Game they should have won. But my concern for that was if Forest go in Champions League, additional pressure, more games, and even qualifying for Europe this year, it was like the additional games, it's just a distraction. Last year, Forest went to the semi-final of the FA Cup. That was the distraction, I think, that cost them the Champions League spot. Because as soon as they got knocked out of the FA Cup, season fell to bits. And I don't think they won. They had 5 or 6 games after that. I don't think they won any of them. And then similar to this year, you know, going further and deep in Europe, it was the distraction for me that was kind of taking an eye off the league. Because you know yourself, once you get to a certain level of a cup competition, it's like, well, we might as well try and win it now, right? First couple of rounds, it's kind of like a free throw and you give it a go. After a period of time now, it's like, well, shit, we're in the quarterfinals now. Oh, semi-finals now. All right, game face. What are we going to do? And I don't think Forest will get past Villa in the semi-finals of the Europa. No, and I just hope it doesn't derail the last couple of games because even with the 25 managers changes and, you know, player differences and whatnot I've seen in the last couple of years, it's still Premier League football is the most important thing for any of us. You know, it's great to go to a cup final. It was great for Forest to go to the FA Cup, to go to Wembley in the semi-final last year. Premier League football is the be-all and end-all for this football club. And
it's interesting you say that, because I was talking with the supporters club about it, and I was like, "We've got to stay up. We've got to stay up." And then I had this realization of we haven't been in a semi-final for 40 years.
Right.
Like, yeah, just go win the FA. Because I was like, "I'll just get knocked out. Let's just get it over and done with. We can't win it." Now I'm like, "Well, you got Chelsea. We beat them. We can't beat City, but we've given 2 decent games."
Right.
But it's like, well, why not have a trophy? Because the reality of it is you're trying to crack that top 4, or the reality of trying to win the league. I don't know if it's there. So you may as well go for broke and get it. But I agree with you. And this is the challenge, right, with the modern game, that you want to stay in a league then rather than go try and win something.
Yeah.
More important to you. But
well,
again, yeah.
I think my fear is, after spending nearly 2 decades out of the Premier League, watching Forest play in Yeovil and that kind of likes. Even got a lot of friends that are Cov fans. It's great to have Cov back in the Premier League next year. It really is. And they just went 20 odd years not in the Premier League. In fact, I remember how fucking crazy it is. I was actually at Villa Park when Merson, not Georgie Hadji. Remember Hadji? It played for Coventry.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, great player.
And it was a beautiful summer's day, and the Villa fans were singing, "We'll meet again, don't know where, don't know when, but I know we'll meet again some sunny day." That was the last time Cov played in the Premier League. I was still a teenager at that
2001, was it?
I think it was 2000, I was 19 or 20 or something like that. And it's like, that's how long they've been away from it.
Oh, mate. Listen,
it's wild. They've been for the rigmarole from losing the ground to losing money to literally on the brink of extinction, and now they're coming back. And I hope they can survive a year or 2 or even longer, because I'm old school. Certain teams I don't want in the Premier League just because I don't think they're a big enough team to be established and stuff. But I'm excited about Cov being in there. There you go. Put it out there for you, Gary. There's hope for you.
Yeah, there we go. There's
we are. For you. I mean, Wigan. We all remember Wigan a couple of years ago.
Yeah, Wigan. Yeah, I know.
Ben Watson, his little bullet header, when everyone thought it was going to extra time and whatnot.
It's interesting, though, isn't it? The FA Cup being like the weekend before the end of the season as well, or is it 2 weeks before the end of the season this year?
It's just a weird one. I was looking at the breakdown of it all and that kind of stuff. But all right, moving on, because we're running out of time. I could go all night, but we've got about 8-9 minutes left. Bob's looking at his watch. He's like, "You didn't say it would be this long. You didn't say it would be this long."
I thought I was locked in here, mate. I was like, "God, we could talk a glass eye to sleep." We were on. We were on here for
24-hour show. Gary went to the school disco, and he's dropped us tonight. Gary and Chris's proper dead hard Thursday trivia question tonight. It's Bob and Chris's proper dead hard Thursday trivia question. Now, Bob doesn't know what this is, and I've got a feeling he's going to get it because he's. I'm
not going to say a word. I'm very excited.
It's pretty coincidental because it's just stuff that we've talked about throughout the show and whatnot. So, as you always know, I'll pause it so it gets clipped. It's Gary Bob, and Chris's proper dead hard Thursday trivia question. We will put this afterwards. This will be posted onto Instagram, Facebook, and all the rest of the thingy-majiggies. Put your answer in the captions. If you want to put your answer in the comments, have a little guess now. We will announce the official results on next Thursday's show. 8.33% of all managers going to the World Cup have been sacked by Chelsea. Can you name them and their country? Around the country they're managing in this World Cup this summer. Bob's, I see that doom.
Yeah, I am doing that, mate. Oh, yeah, I just got another one. Yeah.
Get a countdown clock on and stuff. So, yes, that's right. 8.33% of all managers going to the World Cup this summer have been sacked by Chelsea.
So now, if you know how many... It's a good one, that.
If you know how many teams are in the World Cup, you can do your math and all that kind of stuff. I'm not very good at math, so I can't figure that to tell me what the exact number is. Can you name them and the country they'll be managing? Not the country they're from, but the country they will be managing. Not bad, eh? Not bad.
I really like that, mate.
Well, there's been a bit of controversy over the last couple of weeks because some of Gary's questions are questionable. And, we don't want to cause debates and get HR on the phone and all that kind of thing. And we want to make sure that we're answering questions that are legitimate questions. And there's been a few complaints. We get the letters, we get the mail, we open up the mail, and people still writing by hand. Gary's had a few emails on this, and it's it's heartening and stuff.
I like to think of it more of a growth opportunity, mate. Rather than a complaint, it's just an opportunity for us to grow and learn together. Well, I think if he can admit when he's wrong, we'll clip it and record it. And
do you think a middle-aged man is going to start learning anything at this point in life and stuff? He's very headstrong, is Gary. He's very headstrong.
Growth mindset. The evolution of Gary has been wonderful in the 22 years I've known him.
I do have a couple of clips in there. I'll bring them up for another show of Gary with hair, because people, what did Gary look like?
Mate, I know. I could have got a few.
I've known Gary for 23 years now, and I've got probably the same as you, Bob. I've got the 3 different stages of Gary. I've got when I first met him, when he was kind of in between, kind of maybe a bit where I'm at right now, and then current phase. So it's the evolution of Gary's hair over the years, we'll put it. But that could be another clip for itself and stuff.
It's a slow regression. We can put that under hair chat next week.
Put it in the comments. Tell me about your hair problems and your concerns and woes over the years and stuff. We'd love to know. We'd love to know about people's hair concerns, revolutions. Let's talk about the games this weekend then. So FA Cup, I said I wasn't going to talk about it. Man City, Southampton, and then Chelsea versus Dirty Leeds on Sunday. What do you think? What do you think?
Well, City.
Yep.
I'm saying 3-1. I think Southampton are doing all right. They'll get a goal.
They're flying in the Championship. They're flying.
Yeah. As soon as they got the right person in charge,
there was a stat. Go back to it as well. January.
You need a bell right now. You need a bell that just goes ding, 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 ding.
I want to get it right, because I was looking. It's actually I sent this stat to a friend of mine who's a big Southampton fan, and I couldn't believe it when I saw it. And that was it. So Leicester were above Southampton in the league in January.
Leicester were above the league. What? That is a good one.
January 1st, Leicester had 34 points. Southampton had 33 points. I'm
going to ring the bell.
Sorry,
folks.
So January, Southampton, and they're like, I think they're 3rd in the league now, something like that. They've gone on some
drew, didn't they? Yeah, recently, but I think
incredible run.
Yeah, I think City win.
Yep,
I do. And then Leeds, Chelsea. We haven't scored a goal at Wembley, so we're going to win 3-1. Who's going to
be the goal? Who's going to be the guy who's going to be the players that get you over the line?
Question. It's going to be DCL with his beautiful hair.
It's going to be a penalty, isn't it?
Ponytail back post. He's going to get one. Noah Okafor is going to get one, and then you know what? I'm going to go with Tanaka.
Tanaka
going to score. Yeah, there you go.
All right.
Put your mortgage on it. I won't be back next week, just in case you lose all your money. But I will be back at some point.
Yeah, I hope so. Well, I've got your. Gary gave me your address. Know where you live now. So if I'm going to bring my 2 kids and my wife and say, well, Bob said something about a bet and it didn't work out for me. So
gamble responsibly, please. Gamble responsibly.
Yes. Gary's been trying to get as a gambling sponsor on the show for a while, but that might be the one that drags it over the line and stuff. Oh, we've got some. Again, I'm not going to put the answers out there, but that's a fair shout. That's a fair shout.
It's good, that.
That's not bad. It's not bad. See, I told you he's got the brains, that boy. We'll quickly go through some of the fixtures because we're running out of time. Fulham, Villa. Liverpool, Palace. Come on, quick fire. Gary, quick fire on the bot.
Liverpool.
I'd probably say draw, I think. West Ham, Everton.
Ooh, 1-1.
Yeah, Wolves, Spurs. I think you got that down as your shock of the week, didn't you?
Exactly. Wolves away are a different team to Wolves at home. I'm having Wolves all day on that.
You actually put that down as your shock of the week, so that's a good shout for that. My game of the week. I may have done it wrong. Arsenal, Newcastle.
Arsenal.
You put that down as your lock of the week. That's a bold statement.
Arsenal, because I just feel like everyone's laughing at them right now. They're going to gallop out and be triumphant, and Newcastle are on a bad run.
So it's going to be me versus you, Bob, because I've got that as my shock of the week. I think Newcastle are just going to, they've got nothing.
Really?
I think they're going to be one of those guys where it's just that's going to be the chat in the dressing room, isn't it? It's like, guys, go and end their season. Go and end their season right now. Collecting tears. Look, used to love collecting tears as a player. Go collect my little fucking pot here. Go put it in my little pot of tears.
Oh, it's
going to be a frantic 3-2.
Come on then, but which way are you going?
Ooh, I don't think you can ask that these days, Jim. I think you can ask those questions.
No, yeah. But who are you having? Who are you having? Arsenal or Newcastle? I want to
All
see
right.
who you betting on.
Oh, Sunday. There's no games. There's no games Sunday.
It's just Super League, isn't it?
Monday. United Brentford.
Oh, I'm always going to say whoever's playing them. So Brentford.
It's hard with United because when you think they've turned the corner, you think they start winning games. They'll just throw a silly game like that. I think United will be too good at home for that kind of thing. But Brentford, they're still in the mix a little bit about. Oh, he's right though, isn't he? He's absolutely right on that one.
He is.
I think it's going to be a great game, and that's. Hang on, I forgot what time that game is at. You got to make sure when you got kids, you got to bounce the stuff around that, haven't you?
Yeah.
Is that a tea time? Is that the tea time game? 12:30 my time. Bob, you're on West Coast, so 9:30 your time. You have a bit of tea and toast and get the game on. I think that'd be perfect for you. It's a nice morning. I do miss when I used to live in LA, just getting up at 4:00 in the morning, watch the games. No one bothers you, leaves you alone, and all that.
I have to go to the pub, don't I, at 4 a.m. and 7 a.m.
They're open.
They are. Well, we have to do our due to get everyone together. But yeah, it's fun.
Is there an establishment you'd like to promote on the show that could potentially sponsor us one day?
In Santa Monica. It's a fine establishment. Willie takes care of us.
Still knocking that place. It's been a while since I've immersed on those streets and whatnot. In fact, the last time I think I was in Santa Monica, that was the night we were out in. Gary knows all the places we went to back in the day, and I can't remember a name of them or whatnot. But I remember one bar we went to. There was a 7-foot girl in there, and I've got a photo of me, Gary, and this 7-foot girl behind us. I think she's more like 6'8".
In Venice.
Yeah.
I see where it was. I can remember the name of the place.
That's nice. I can't remember. I remember starting the night.
Ooh.
What's that?
El Sacchio, he's saying. A potential El Sacchio, that fixture. Arteta and Howe under pressure. You think Arteta's gone at the end of the season?
I do, yeah. I do. Here's the thing, though. If he doesn't win the league, but he wins the Champions League.
Oh, he's staying. I don't
think long. Yeah. Even if he wins nothing, do you think they'll keep him?
I don't know. Yeah, I just don't think he goes. I don't. I think Eddie Howe, though.
Yeah, it's pressure, isn't it? Because he's had a few injuries. He spent a bit of coin. You got players that Tonali is going to probably want to leave in the summer. No one's really going to want to go there, and it's a tough one.
They haven't got the money now, right? They're pulling out on some of the money, so it's going to be interesting.
And it's brilliant because Forest got Elliot Anderson on the cheap, who's been one of the best players in the league for England and Forest this year.
Well, he's going to go as well, isn't he? You're not going to keep hold of him. He's brilliant.
No, and my take, and you're probably not going to hear this and stuff, I think the best club for Elliot Anderson is going to be United. I really do. He's the next Roy Keane. I saw Roy Keane at that age coming through and going up to that level. I don't think he could go to City and he could play, but I don't think City's going to look at the long-term picture for him, developing him right. He'll blow up there and it just won't work out. I think United's the best team to suit him. He's like for like, very similar to Casemiro, just with a bit more of an engine for him. We call him the Geordie Maradona, but
and speaking of Geordie Maradonas, Sean Longstaff, absolutely. What a finish yesterday. You're absolutely spot on.
I'm not getting the clips. I'm trying to click it. It's not letting me click over.
Well, that's okay.
Now my mouth, my bar of soap that Jay left behind. It's saying for a little. Now I found again.
Belter. And the fact that one of the players was offside and scored in the 96th minute, even better. Love that.
There we go. I got there in the end just to show that SES is getting involved and stuff as well. So that being said, we're at the end of another show. Bob Gibson from...
Mate, thank you for having us. I've enjoyed this.
Yeah. I was going to do the old what's your name, where'd you come from? Tonight, Matthew, I'm going to be Bob Gibson from Los Angeles.
Yeah, I am. You just did it for me. Thank you. I enjoyed that, mate.
So much, Bob.
Long time watcher.
And you look the same. You look the same. I guess you love it. Well, guys, girls, boys, everyone else, thank you so much for tuning in and joining the show and everything. It's been a pleasure. Don't forget, we are back next Wednesday with another World Cup Wednesday. We're running out of weeks now until we get to the big one. Hopefully, Bob can join us for a World Cup Wednesday because I'd love to quiz him about everything England, America, Canada, Mexico, and everything in between, and Iran, maybe, see what he got to say on that kind of subject as well. But we'll go from there. Again, thank you so much for joining us tonight, and see you next week for another EPL Across the Pond.
Cheers all.